14th Global Investment Immigration Summit at the Shangri-La Hotel in New Delhi served as a valuable platform for Indian investors and HNIs to explore opportunities abroad and gain insights into the latest immigration trends and programs. Organized by BLS Global with Acquest Advisors as the knowledge partner and NDTV as the media partner, the summit witnessed a remarkable surge in attendees, indicative of the growing interest among Indian investors and high net worth individuals in exploring avenues abroad. The summit brought together immigration experts from around the world. The event also focused on various immigration programs such as the EB-5 visa, Portugal Golden Visa, UK Business Immigration and Europe Golden Visa. Panel discussion with experts from the industry across the globe helped clear many doubts amongst the visitors. The panel covered everything about the EB-5 visa, from what the EB-5 visa is to the return on investment to various projects and a lot more. Hello and welcome to the 14th Global Immigration Investment Summit 2024. So in the year 2022, the US issued a total of 10,885 EB-5 visas, and Indians were the second largest applicants after China. Now the highly popular EB-5 visas is back in the new avatar with more benefits for its investors. But are they going to go for it? And especially after the slowdown in 2021 and 2022, there's been a sharp increase seen in 2023. So why is this increase? Will this continue in 2024 and beyond? To answer all these questions, we have experts sitting with us. Just to set the context, can you tell us what the EB-5 visa is? And we see this trend. Do you think it's going to pick up? Tell us a little bit about that to begin with before we start the conversation.
All right. So basically, EB-5 visa, as we know, is a very popular investment-based immigration program for the US. And all you need to do is invest money and, of course, with some other conditions, and you get a green card for the entire family. The program has been around for quite some time. It's not a new program. It has been around since 1990, and thousands of investors, including many hundreds and thousands from India, have migrated to US under this program. Now, the program underwent a sea change in 2022. We had the new EB-5 RIA, popularly known as Reforms and Integrity Act, come into play in 2022. And we had seen that during 2020 and 21, there was slight slowdown in the program, but after the new act has come into play, the program has really bounced back. This is because there were a lot of new benefits, features added to the program which were favoring the investors. Chief among them was, first we had the concurrent filing of adjustment of status. It means that earlier under the old EB-5 program, after you have filed the EB-5 application, you have to wait for 2 years, 3 years, or even more to adjust your status from non-immigrant to immigrant and start enjoying the benefits. Under the new program, after you have filed your EB-5 visa application, and if you are already in the US, on an F1 visa, student's visa, work visa, or any other temporary visa, you can immediately file for change of status. You get your work permit, you get your travel payroll, and you can start enjoying the benefits of green card almost instantly. And this has been one of the most important driving factors.
Thanks, Paresh, for explaining that really well. I think setting the context, for explaining what the EB-5, and we know that it's increasing, the numbers are increasing, the applicants are increasing. Akshat, tell us, do you see this trend when it comes to investors? And who are these investors? And is concurrent filing something which could be a key reason for this?
So as Paresh rightly said, since the introduction of the EB-5 Reform and Integrity Act, we've seen a tremendous demand, so to say, amongst investors to pursue EB-5. Just for the interest of the audience, let's try and make it a little simple for you, right? So EB-5 essentially is a visa program that offers you a pathway of permanent residency to the US. And in simple words, it gives you the flexibility and the freedom to be able to work, to be able to run your business, to do your own consultancy, to be able to stay unrestricted, in an unrestricted fashion in the US. So that's something that stands out. And the concurrent adjustment of status, as we've all discussed, which is the I-485 application, has certainly been the standouts, in my opinion, the star of the new act. We've seen a huge demand from H-1B visa holders as well, who are in the US. Obviously, as Paresh rightly said, a majority of applications come from China and followed by India, but we're seeing that the rest of the world is also picking up, and I would say it's certainly a very bright future for the EB-5 industry, and if this is what you're looking out for, then certainly a good time to give it a shot.
Okay, and since we are talking about concurrent filing, Asif, I would like to come to you here. Can you elaborate a little bit more on it? What are its benefits? And most importantly, I think what our audience, what our viewers would like to know is about the timelines.
H-1B guys and student visa, these are the most benefited categories where they are already on US soil, and that allows, along with the filing I-526 petition, you will be able to file your adjustment of status along with work authorization and the traveling document. And majority of the H-1B guys have got the restrictions to change the job. That EAD will give them that liberty to work without any particular restriction. And F1, there is a work restriction for the F1 student as well. So that will also give them a kind of a liberty to extend that stay, and they don't have to come back to their native country, and they can continue the journey while they are in the US.
Abhishek, talking about the priority processing for certain categories of projects, can you tell us about that? Are clients actually getting approvals when it comes to priority?
So I'm working in this industry since a decade now. And if you'll ask about processing timelines, it was tremendous. Since one year, the kind of processing timelines that I have seen, it's unheard of. I will specifically talk about priority processing. Now, priority processing comes with if your project qualifies for a rural TA. If you invest in a project which qualifies for a rural TA, then you are subjected to something called priority processing. If you would have asked me this question a year back, it would have been very difficult for me to give an answer, a concrete answer. But now, with full confidence, I can tell you that it can be as fast as 22 days, as fast as 29 days. On an average, if you invest in a project, which is an I-956F approved project, another technical word.
Yes.
But if it's an approved project and it qualifies for rural TA, then there's a high possibility that you can get your I-526E approved within like 6 to 8 months. Once your I-526E is approved, that triggers your I-485 if you are living inside the US, or triggers your consular processing if you are living outside the US. And that gets you your conditional green card. The only and the first green card which is there in the new laws is also through a rural project. So it becomes really, really important to understand that, yeah, priority processing is really working, and this is a good thing for the industry.
So Rupy, coming to you, we do know that there are changes in the EB-5 program. Can you tell us what those changes are, especially when it comes to the interest of the investors?
Sure. So I would say that there are a couple of big benefits for investors in the new legislation. Obviously, the one being priority processing. If you invest in a rural project, you get a priority processing, right now estimated to be under a year. And I would say the other big benefit that I see is the clarification that the investors only have to stay invested for at least 2 years. So basically, they are entitled to get their money back after 2 years. So that's one of the biggest benefits. And the other, I would say, is there are a lot of protections now put in place. The regional centers are being given a lot more responsibility. In the past program, regional centers could be more passive about the projects that they sponsor, but now they are basically tasked with being the gatekeeper, meaning that any project that you sponsor, you better make sure that the sponsor is following all securities laws, right? And that there are no bad actors involved in this deal, meaning bad actors, meaning if they ever had a violation in the past from securities, SEC violations, or any other criminal issues. So the regional center is subject to very steep penalties, and basically they could be canceled by USCIS if they're not being the gatekeepers of the projects that they're sponsoring.
Carl, I would like to ask you any other ways of expediting the process?
Yeah, I agree with what Abhishek was saying, and Rupy, that priority processing is shown to be now a very fast process in terms of the first investors that have been approved under the rural projects. And so I would add that there's, the way I look at it, there's sort of three types of processing sort of timelines, I would say. Standard processing, which historically has been a very lengthy process. Fortunately, under the RIA, it seems to be a lot quicker. But priority processing is for rural investors, and that's looks like it's currently a sort of a 1-year timeline. There's also been something called expedited processing. If you invest in a project that's considered national interest, or there are a couple of other categories that would also qualify, urgent humanitarian needs, for example. And historically, that was the fastest process. Under the RIA, it's still a little early to exactly determine what expedited processing is going to look like, but I think it's going to be very similar to priority processing, frankly. So it's going to be a very quick process as well.
Just moving on to understand a little bit about the projects. Asif, first I would want to ask you if you can just tell us what are the different types of EB-5 projects?
Different investor perspectives different. Like for example, if a family is residing in US on H1 or any other particular non-immigrant status, so their perception might be different. They are looking for the green card, and in order to get the green card, because they are already in US, so they don't have any kind of a hurry to enter into the US, so they may go for like a project with the TEA kind, and the family who is back in India, where they are looking to expedite that process, they may go for the rural project. However, whether you go with the rural project or TEA project, as an investor myself, there are 3 factors that I always try to explain to my potential investor, and those factors are the safety of your capital, safety of your green card, and the conversion of your conditional green card into the permanent green card. That is the job creation. So, and I'm absolutely sure, being an investor, you should have like 3, 4, 5 projects on your desk. It's how you are evaluating those projects based on these 3 factors, by looking at the cost structure of the total EB-5, that what is the percentage raise of EB-5, what is the total contribution of EB-5 money out of the entire cost structure of the EB-5 project. Try to find out the location, and based on that fact, you will be able to find how they are going to repay your fund.
Abhishek, in your experience, what are the kind of projects you've seen investors want to invest in?
People who are considering EB-5, I generally deal with people who are either living in US or living outside the US, and mostly Indians. What I've seen the trend, there are 2 things which is like the priority for them. Number 1, smooth processing and faster approvals. Second, safety of the capital. So these are the 2 important things for every EB-5 investor. Now, there can be different reasons for that. For example, somebody who is filing from outside the US, then obviously as sooner the I-526E will get approved, the sooner consular processing will happen, and sooner they will get the conditional green card to be in the US. So their entry in the US depends on how fast the processing was. Obviously, we are talking about a huge sum of money, hard-earned money from everyone. So they would like their capital to be safe. So that's undeniably the most important thing for everyone. So to answer in one line, yes, rural projects are really popular.
Moving on to the finances, Akshat, I'm going to ask you, what are the various ways when it comes to EB-5 visas, the funds, how can they be used in financing the projects?
Generally, the kind of investments that we curate are either preferred equity or let's say mezzanine debt. Now, these are forms of investments that are made into the project where all EB-5 investors, so to say, in a particular project are one step ahead of the developer in the capital stack. So you'll see general EB-5 projects where you'll have a senior lender, which is like a bank or a financial institution backing the project. You'll have sponsors' own equity, which is developers' own equity into the project. And then you would see a healthy chunk of EB-5 funds put into that particular project, either in the form of pref equity or mezzanine debt. These are generally what we at USIF sort of preferred, but I'm sure there are other forms of investments that my fellow colleagues are sort of also dealing in.
Okay, thanks Akshat. Rupy, a question I think every investor or somebody who wants to invest would want to know is about the money, right? How do they get their money back, and what are the timelines? How long does it take once the investment is made?
Well, it would depend on a project-to-project basis, right? So you have to look at the underlying structure. Like it was mentioned that there's preferred equity structure or there's a debt structure. Typically, historically at least, debt structures have been 5-year term with 2 or 3 extensions. So you're typically looking at a 7-8 year term to get your money back. Now that the new legislation has come out and said you can get your money back after 2 years, we might see a shortening of that time. But that's how historically the projects have been structured.
Paresh, what are the factors that one should consider when they're choosing a project? How do they decide which project should be they putting their money in or investing in?
When you are looking at a regional center a project for investment, you have to look at factors about, the various parameters that we as investment advisors, when we are looking at project, we look at is what is the track record of the regional center, what is the management, what is the background they have, how big is the size, do they have systems and processes in place, etc. So that is done at the top level, at the regional center level. Then you come down at the project level. If there is a good regional center, what is the kind of project they have? It's not necessary that a good regional center will always have a good project. And it's not necessary that a not so good regional center will not have a good project. It can be other ways also. So we have to go down further and look at the project level. At the project level, we have to look at what is the size of the project, what is the track record of the developer whom they're financing, what is the financing structure, like other speakers said, it could be equity, it could be preferred equity, it could be debt. If it is a debt, what are the repayment terms? There is an underlying loan agreement. We have to look at the loan agreement. You also have to look at the capital stack. You also have to look how much skin the developer himself has in the project, how much money he is putting himself. Apart from this, there are various other technical factors that we look into it. There is an offering memorandum. It's like a prospectus which runs into hundreds of pages. We have to study that and look at various other factors. And then we can shortlist the project for investment.
I have a question for you, Carl. What role does the US government play in monitoring the investments and also protecting the investor?
Well, USCIS governs the program through essentially, as Rupy mentioned earlier, through the regional center. So typically, similar to a broker-dealer in the US, they're basically regulated in the same way a broker-dealer is regulated now under the new law. So regional center has to ensure that the project follows all the laws, applicable laws. And if not, the sanctions are quite severe. So they have to, they can potentially get debarred and investors can get denied. So it is very important that the regional center is a responsible regional center and does take compliance very seriously.
Quick, remark from you for the closing remark. And my question is, why the EB-5 visa now? I think we would want to know. Akshat, I'll start with you.
Sure. EB-5, because it's the most sought after program. Currently, there's no wait list for investors across all countries.
We are approaching the end of the financial year. We have restrictions on the money that we sent out. We come across so many clients who want to do EB-5, but they are not able to send out the money as per the RBI regulation. So this time of the year is a good time at least to have your money out. Even if you have not decided whether you want to, which project you want to invest in, this is the time before the end of the year. Take the advantage of the LRS limit, send the money out, park it over there, and whenever you decide, you can use it.
In past, for me, like EB-5 was a program where you can begin your American journey, and in future as well. So whether it's going to be a March, April, May or June, EB-5 is always there.
As the law states, Reforms and Integrity Act, it is being made more and more friendlier for investors. There have been more laws put in to weed out the bad actors. First time we have a program, solid program for 5 years. On top of that, you have grandfathering done. If you file till 30th of September 2026, whatever happens in future, you are not going to get affected. Plus, you have a couple of categories which are open, which are current for all the Indian investors over here.
Faster processing, India is current at the moment. It all makes for a very opportune time. One thing I would add is we're one of the largest owners of regional centers in the country, so we see a lot of projects that are in the pipeline. And I would say the quality of projects has gone up quite considerably as well in general.
I think the amount is only going to go up in the future, right? The U.S. has recognized that for 20 years, they never adjusted it for inflation. It was at $500,000, and now the government is realizing, hey, this was too cheap. So we know the amount is going to adjust in the future. It's not going down ever again. So I think it's a great time.
Thank you all so much. I would like to thank the panelists for the insightful, expertise and also really interactive audience. It's been great. Thank you all so much for watching.